a representative. He's an elected official today, and he's apologized.
Ms. Crombie,
Can you
Yes.
Can you reiterate your stance on transportation? A little bit of moans from the crowd when you mentioned the Northlander and the Liberal support for it.
I think that came from the minister who lives here. As I've said before, I support the Northlander. I wouldn't have supported the decision to cut it, and it should be back. I know I've heard for 7 years that it's coming back, yet I don't see it in operation. I support the Northlander. I would like it to be operative, and yes, I'm completely committed to ensuring that the Northlander is back.
Bonnie, many of the ridings in the north, especially this one, had a heck of a time getting candidates. This was a riding that had a two-time cabinet minister elected back-to-back, and they had to get more or less a parachute candidate to come in. And there's other ridings in this area or south of us that have had trouble getting candidates. How do you explain that?
Yeah, well, I'm a new leader, and of course, is either have been either government-held ridings or have deep ties to the NDP. But I think the good news is our message is getting through, and people are very open to the fact that we are going to provide the basics for them. We're not about fantasy tunnels under the 401 and giving $2 billion to a foreign company, a foreign spa at Ontario Place. We're going to get you a family doctor. If there's one thing I am going to do is ensure that everyone in Ontario has a family doctor. We're going to recruit doctors, so even in the north, you have adequate coverage. We're going to hire nurses and PSWs. I'm going to cut your taxes.
How do you plan to hire, given the dire shortages of doctors and nurses across Ontario and the incredibly long wait times, again, across the province, not just necessarily a North Ontario issue, saying it and doing it are two massively different things.
Yeah, a massive commitment is required, and it's my number one priority. And I have a plan that lays it out and how we will hire 3,100 new doctors. So yes, some long-term will increase the number of medical schools. We'll double the number of residency plans because there are foreign-trained doctors, including our own children, who sometimes go abroad to get trained in the U.S. and the U.K., even Poland, who want to come back but don't have a residency spot open for them. We're going to incentivize doctors on the cusp of retiring to stay on a little longer, and we're going to put more doctors through the mentorship program, better known as the Practice Ready Ontario. It all adds up to 3,100 new doctors. We will incentivize them to serve long-term in more rural, remote areas, northern communities, and in Francophone communities as well, to ensure that the needs of our Francophone communities are met.
What's your reaction to the Eglinton Lawrence candidate, the NDP candidate there, dropping out at the last minute and encouraging people to vote Liberal?
Yeah, I don't know all the details. I know that I have an excellent candidate there, Vince Gasparo, and I think he's going to win. So I'm not going to speak about other parties and other candidates.
Bonnie, can you clarify what it is that you would upload from municipalities to the province?
So, for instance, mental health, housing, homelessness, addiction issues, that requires a strategy, a province-wide strategy. It's been left on the shoulders of individual municipal leaders. I see, and I was driving that point in the debate, that I see mayors and reeves, using their own devices, coming up with strategies that will work in their own towns. Then we get together in meetings and we share best practices, what's worked. That's not acceptable. That shouldn't be on the back of the property taxpayer. There needs to be a coordinated strategy led by the province and properly funded by the province.
Can you also clarify what your party's going to do about development charges? I believe your platform says only some homes will see them exempted, but I think
yes, I believe
you said that they would.
Well, family-size homes of 3,000 square feet or less will see the exemption of development charges. I call those the hidden taxes upon closing. It'll help make the cost of building, and of course, that is a very large home nonetheless. We didn't want to subsidize the building of the monster homes. It's a good size family home, so on 3,000 square feet or less, we will remove those hidden taxes at the closing. It will help drop the cost of development, of building, and it will also drop the price to the consumer. Yet, I have a plan through the Better Communities Fund to ensure that the municipalities are made whole.
What's your response on this video of Doug Ford at the police gala with those sparky comments?
Well, what can I say? The premier, he always flip-flops. He says one thing one place, and then he says something else. We've heard him make statements when he thinks he's in a private setting on opening up the Greenbelt, and then he assured us he wouldn't, and then he went and tried to do it. So he flip-flops all the time. So it speaks to his character. We're never really sure where he stands. Is it Doug Ford that you saw at the police gala, or is it the Doug Ford that said, oh, no, his staff said he doesn't stand by that statement? So he flip-flops. I think it's bringing U.S.-style politics here to Canada, which I don't support and I don't like whatsoever. And he'll have to wear those comments. Obviously, I don't agree with them.
That it was a joke.
It's a pretty serious matter to joke about, I would say. I think it speaks to character. I think he was in a room he thought was friendly, and he felt that he could say what he wanted, much like that dinner he had with developers when he told them he would open up the Greenbelt. That's what I think it shows.
Can I get your thoughts, please, on strong colleges, a strong post-secondary sector in Ontario?
Well, we know that this provincial government doesn't properly fund our post-secondary institutions. They're funding their operating rates at about 30%. In other provinces, it's up to 60%. So I think we need strong colleges to prepare our kids for the jobs of tomorrow. And I believe strongly in post-secondary education would fund it properly. Now, if your follow-up question is going to ask me, am I going to raise tuition? That is not my plan. I think our youth are struggling. We have to find every means we can to ensure they go to school. And so as a result, we're going to increase the OSAP that's permitted. We're going to take the interest off it. We're going to lengthen the amount of time to pay it back, and we're going to increase the threshold from $30,000 to $50,000 at which starts required to pay it back. And may I finish? And then we're going to create 40,000 jobs for those young people through co-op positions, internships, placements, etc., to ensure they can start working. Thank you.
You plan on financing the University of Sudbury?
I'm a big fan of University of Sudbury. I think you should be funded. I know there's a relationship right now with Laurentian, and we will speak more about that, but I feel very strongly that we need French language education here in Sudbury and in the north.
Bonnie,
in Sudbury.
Last question. Bonnie, there's a few instances today where you, tried to debate the Premier about his housing record, and he essentially threw your own, as Mayor Mississauga, back in your face. Just wondering, would you have done anything differently now to have got more homes built in Mississauga that you would?
I will say that I've spent almost 10 years as mayor, and it's just been in most recent that we've really felt the crisis that evolved with our housing and the need to get more housing built quickly, and housing that's affordable. Not just, my city was built around a 4-bedroom family home with a picket fence, but, that's not appropriate for starter homes or newcomers or seniors. So, I think as mayor, I really embraced density and intensification and embraced public transit, and was the first mayor to introduce fourplexes as of right into our city, and I think we are moving in that direction, and I feel very strongly. And so when it came to our housing platform, I recognized the need to build more homes, affordable homes, and to do it faster. And how can we get that done? How can we lower the cost of building, lower the price to the consumer, and also make the cities whole at the same time? That was my goal, because I knew that's what I had faced when I was mayor. And we did it. And I'm so proud of my team, and I hope others emulate the plan. And I think some have.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bonnie.